Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything. This is James, and continuing today with drawing every country in the world's flag. And today, we've got a big episode. We've got a great episode, greater than usual, right? They're all great. Every single episode I do is just amazing. Each one better than the last. This one is really, really, really good already, I can tell. I've been wanting to talk about this one for a while. Going back in Europe, and we're going to be doing Denmark. And I know you can't really see it, but you know where it is, right? Why am I even pointing? So Denmark, the Jutland Peninsula, home of the Danes. But Denmark is a little bit bigger than that, right? So this episode today is going to be quite topical because we're also going to be doing one of their possessions a little bit north of Scotland, the Faroe Islands, and then right over here, just moving over a little bit, this big guy right here, Greenland, has been in the news lately. So we'll get to all of that, and I hope my red marker survives because we're gonna be seeing red today, right? We're like the matadors or whatever, the bulls, but I don't know what that has to do with this country, but just run with it. So simple flag. We've done this flag before, the Dannebrog cross, right? It's in a lot of these Scandinavian / Nordic flags, variations of it. This one's kind of the OG. It's just a red and white cross. So pretty simple. Just getting this out of the way, and we'll get into some bonus content today. And where the hell is my eraser? Oh, James is not prepared today. Oh, we'll have to use this guy. All right. I was so excited to do Denmark, I wasn't even prepared for this. Okay, so one of the most populated countries as far as like per kind of square mileage. It's kind of been like one of the breadbaskets of Europe for a long time. So it's the Jutland Peninsula, and then also an archipelago of about 406 islands. It's considered a Scandinavian country, right? Although you kind of more think of Norway, Sweden, Finland. It does have ties to that. So the Kingdom of Denmark, that emerges around the 8th century AD. Kind of one of the big maritime powers in Europe. Home of the Danes. And then also the Jutes. They have kind of a lot of early European wars with like what eventually becomes Britain. Right? So this is kind of home to some badass Viking invaders. Right? We love our Vikings here. James Draws Everything Viking history. Alright, so let me just going to kind of lay out where I want everything to be with this red. Okay. So early on in this country's history, again, we're talking like pre-Roman times. Kind of the center of a lot of trade routes that kind of go up into northern Europe, like the Scandinavian countries. and again, early like Viking civilizations. They actually have Sweden early on as well. They expand a little bit north into northern Europe. Sweden breaks away from that union in like the 1600s. And one of their famous kings, King Christian IV, they go to war with Sweden in 1611, and they fail to force Sweden to kind of reunify with this Danish kingdom. But the Swedish do pay some reparations to Denmark, and then this kind of causes Denmark to rapidly urbanize. So it's always been one of the kind of main sort of financial centers in Europe, and it has been like that for a very long time. So they kind of maybe they're not really thought of in this way, but they are kind of like a big sort of maritime power. They did have some trading posts in Africa and India, but they didn't really go as hard on like the colonialism as some of their European neighbors. And then when Lutheranism sort of becomes a thing, in the kind of the 30 Years' War around this time in Europe, King Christian, he tried to become the leader of the Lutherans, but he was defeated. And then a Catholic army was able to occupy Denmark and kind of forces them to bail out of that war. They do avoid losing territory, right? You always kind of think of Denmark as not really being involved in like a lot of the main power struggles, right, between like Germany, France, Britain. So yeah, they kind of bail out of that. They have some more kind of battles with Sweden in the 17th century. They lose Holland, Gotland, and some parts of like Estonia and Norway. So it's sort of like making like kind of shrinking down to what modern sort of Denmark is. And they got into another war with Sweden. And that kind of forms like like more like of a separate like a Swedish identity that kind of lasts to this day. And sort of Denmark kind of starts to like lose some of its power around that time. And then kind of going into like the modern age, they stay out of World War I, but still kind of like an important geostrategical location, very well integrated into like the European Union, NATO. And yeah, it's a very, very prosperous country. Always kind of ranks high on like Human Development Index and things like that. And yeah, so that is Denmark. All right, so pretty easy flag. And what does that Denmark flag mean, James? Well, again, it is the Danneberg cross. And this kind of is sort of like one of the oldest flags in the world. The origins of it are kind of disputed. Legend has it that this banner fell from the sky during a 13th century battle, and before it touched the earth, it kind of inspired the army to victory. It could also have been like a banner that was used during the Crusades, because Denmark, they were kind of one of the big Crusader states during that period of history as well. They were definitely more aligned with like the Protestant powers, sort of later on. But yeah, it's a very recognizable flag, and it inspired a lot of its neighbors, right? So you kind of see that cross, and you think Scandinavian, you think Denmark, but Denmark, right? It's not just that little peninsula in northern Europe, right? They do have some pretty significant territorial possessions, and I think one of the big ones has got to be Greenland, right? So we'll draw a real quick Greenland flag here. And legend has it that Greenland was originally settled by Eric the Red when he was exiled from Iceland, and he sailed west, and he found this place, right? And all sorts of kind of controversy over what the name comes from, right? The famous sort of story that you're told is that he named this place Greenland to fool people into going there, right? Because Greenland is just a gigantic sheet of ice. But there's a little bit of controversy around that, because there aren't really any firsthand tales to kind of support that. So that kind of legend didn't that didn't transpire until I think almost 200-300 years after he sailed there. So it could have been something that was made up to sort of tarnish his legacy, because he actually there is some evidence that when he did land there, it was during kind of a warming period in global history. So there were forests there and things like that. So the place where he landed on the eastern coast may have actually been green, right? And then kind of going in later on and seeing all the ice and stuff, that could have added to the legend. So it is disputed. Yeah, it's 80% capped in ice. Inuit people came there from North America, and then they came to North America from Siberia. So kind of those sort of people. The Danish colonization begins in the 18th century. They become part of the Kingdom of Denmark in 1953, and they join the European Community, which is now the EU, in 1973, but then they withdraw in 1985 over a fishing quota dispute. And this place too, it is part of Denmark, but it's been gaining a lot of autonomy, especially recently. They voted in favor of home rule in 1979. Or actually, they were granted that by Parliament, right? So Denmark takes care of the big stuff, but they're given a lot of autonomy. And then they get more autonomy in 2008 when they vote in favor of self-government and, greater responsibility for their internal affairs. And that kind of brings us up to today, right? So Greenland is in the news, right? Is it finally happening? Is the United States going to buy Greenland? I don't know. There's only about like 50,000 people there or so, 50,000 people. So it's very, very unpopulated. Apparently, they want to have their independence, and we got a new administration coming in. The Trump administration has expressed some interest in this area. So will it happen? I don't know. It's and if it does happen, is it going to be a state? Would it be just like a territory? I'm leaning towards territory, but it would be cool if we get another state, right? Because you know what? I don't want to be the first generation to not get a new state. My parents got 2 new states, during their lives, and I want one too, just for the hell of it. So a lot of and it might seem a little ridiculous, right? Like buying Greenland, like what's there? Well, the Chinese are already setting up shop there, and they have a lot of influence in that area as far as mining and fishing and things like that. Unlimited potential as far as the resources, right? So you get Greenland, does gasoline go down to 89 cents a gallon? Who knows, right? So it is interesting. If you had I don't think too many people had Greenland on their bingo card for being a hot spot in in the 21st century, but who knows, right? Because again, it's unlimited potential, right, in Greenland. And so that's Greenland. We'll see what happens. It's there's a lot of rumblings, and I'm doing this in January of 2025. By the time I finish this project, we might already know something about what's going to happen in Greenland's future, right? With a new administration coming in here in the United States. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's also do here another possession of Denmark, the Faroe Islands. Right, so the Faroe Islands, it's kind of north of Scotland, very rugged, kind of rough terrain. Kind of also has that Danneberg cross on it. Very early Norse and Celtic settlers lived there, around 500 AD. And it's sort of a stepping stone between the Vikings and the North Atlantic. They've been connected to Denmark since the 14th century. Today they're a self-governing dependency of Denmark. They do have home rule, a lot like Greenland, and mainly kind of like a fishing based economy. And I actually really like this place. If you had to ask me, James, where's one place in the world that you want to go? It would actually be this place. Just because I think, I don't know, there's something about the landscapes and stuff there, and it's so remote and isolated. It almost looks like one of those places where you step too far, you're gonna fall off the face of the planet, right? Because it's just such a unique geography, so isolated, and I don't know. To me, it's a really cool place, and I actually drew something for the Faroe Islands, just kind of bored one day at work or something, just kind of scribbling, and here's kind of give you an idea of what the landscapes are like there. That's the Mulafasur waterfall in Gesaldover, Faroe Islands, and I know I probably butchered that pronunciation, but you see a lot of stuff like this there. The islands are they're raised by 80 to 200 feet above, and they just kind of drop off right into the North Atlantic Ocean. So it's a really rugged, kind of cool place. I'd love to go hiking there. Beautiful waterfalls, Just kind of a unique sort of civilization, right? Very heavy on like fish, as far as like their diet and their economy and things like that. So yeah, it's a cool place. So Denmark, if you still got the Faroe Islands, or Faroe Islands, if you have any say in the matter, jamesdrawseverything@gmail.com. Send me a ticket, a plane ticket, and I'll come visit. Because I think your islands are really cool there, and I would like to check them out before I leave this mortal realm. So, speaking of leaving, I'm not going to leave the mortal realm just yet, but I'm going to leave this episode, and that's Denmark. These are 2 possessions of Denmark, Faroe Islands, and Greenland for now. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video.